The following podcast contains adult themes and adult language. Listener discretion advised.
And although we joke, if you or someone you know is affected by or a victim of domestic violence, dial 1-800-799-7233 or visit the National Domestic Violence Hotline's website, thehotline.org.
But it's always the husband, it's always the husband, it's always the husband. I'm gonna keep it.
Hi, this is Sarah.
And this is Megan.
And you're listening to It's Always the Husband podcast.
Welcome.
Thank you. We're back from the longest break we've taken in 5 years.
For real.
It is, actually.
We're back, bitches.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
We've only taken 3 weeks off in 5 years.
That's
but we've done
insane.
random 1.5 week.
Yeah, when
Sometimes a
everyone
2
got
week.
COVID, yeah.
And
When
but
you
we
out-
still during COVID we still met when you weren't supposed to, and we did it all
Yeah.
through COVID because we started during COVID.
You got the POTS syndrome that
I
one
got
time.
POTS, and so my heart
We
is
had to
probably
take-
hanging on by a thread
yeah.
too.
Just by a thread.
But what are you going to do about it? I don't give two.
I got a
fucks.
hysterectomy.
Yeah,
I took
we
some
still
time off then.
did only 2 weeks.
Just 2 weeks, yeah. I got my ass up and
yeah.
talked
You still had
about
that
some
gassy
dicks.
internal.
Oh my God, remember
Yeah.
how bad that hurt? Well, anyway, hi. What the
Yeah.
fuck are we even? We forgot how to do a podcast.
We do,
As
but we
if
forget
we've ever known.
when we only do no break.
Yeah.
But we took a break just because our other job ended, and that can be very disillusioning. I don't know what the word is.
Well, it was
we
just
get
super busy.
kibble-cabbled, and it's
Yeah.
a busy time, and it's exhausting. And then you're crabby, and then sometimes you can't be funny or learned.
I got deathly ill again.
You did.
At the end of
You got
the
really
deodorant
sick.
factory. Yeah. So there.
Were you breathing struggles?
Yeah. And I
such?
just was coughing and I thought I had COVID, but I read the test wrong. So I sent
You
everybody.
still could have, but
I got COVID. And they were like, that means you don't have COVID, you dumb bitch.
you stupid whore. That's positive for whore.
Yeah.
But not for COVID.
But still, I felt so shitty. I didn't even care. I was like,
No.
okay, I guess it doesn't
Probably
matter
had-
what I have. I'm sicker than ass.
You were. So what we do before we start our mystery
Yeah,
is sometimes we have segments.
we do.
But let's celebrate Patreons. And now while I have time, I've restocked our stickers, and I possibly might restock our Etsy while I'm at it, if I remember how to do that. I forgot you have to put a number in. And I guess as people order the stickers, that number goes down, and I never realize it. So I forget to put that I actually have some of this. Whatever. I should do a Etsy restock, so I'll do that.
Okay.
But Patreons, you can sign up, and then you get a special feed of episodes that go to you.
This is so great. So if this is your first time listening, we are eventually going to talk about murder, but until then we just talk about other dumb stuff. So these people actually support
That do.
our minuscule brains, and
They get special content.
they do
Content.
they get some content, and then they also get a sticker and some stickers. Yeah.
Ainsley McPherson.
Thanks, Ainsley.
That sounds Irish.
Yeah, it does.
Ainsley McPherson.
McPherson. Yeah.
Judy Cullen. That could be Irish too.
I like Jude's.
Chatty Cullen. Caitlin Carpenter. She could be one of the Carpenters.
She could be.
Carpenter
She'd
Karen and
sing.
Carpenter. What was the brother? It was kind of a dick.
No one ever knew his name because he was so dumb and weird.
He was weird, and he was not very nice to Karen.
And Karen had the best
And her mom
voice
was an absolute
and
asshole.
played the drums.
Brittany Young McDonald. Young McDonald.
We
Brittany.
have so many Irish.
Yeah, that's an Irish.
Yeah.
Melissa Johns.
That's
That could be
just
too. That maybe
normal.
isn't English.
That's
I
just
don't
a
know.
normal.
Joey Michelle or Joey Michelle. Joey Michelle. Joey Michelle.
Or
Could
just
be a
Joey
French.
and Michelle. Okay.
And Martina, who wrote us, who is a foreign. I believe it was from Spain. But
Oh
she
my
is, or she's
God.
Spanish. She was Italian in Spain, or an Italian in Italy and a Spain. She wrote us a lovely message. And she's very wonderful and cute. And I liked it so much.
Thank you.
Martina was so cute.
We're so glad we have listeners.
So I'll have to send her stickers with my international stamps.
Yes.
But all of these people, because we took our breaks, they all.
Yeah.
But you'll be able to get.
And we weren't even working.
Our newest episode that we just sent to Patreon and some of our other ones.
Yes.
Where
the ones where we were drunk.
Yes.
And Sarah fell asleep in the bathtub.
Yeah. We didn't even ever do the crime.
Where
we talked for a while and didn't even talk about anything. It was just
another Patreon where we talked about Belle Gunness, right?
Yes.
Didn't we do that for Patreon?
Hers.
We did the meat flap curtains.
Yes.
From the abattoir.
Yeah. She was psycho.
Yeah. And then some
lots
other
of
dumb
female
stuff.
killers.
Yeah.
That are high quality female ladies. They get the job done.
So thanks for your support. We appreciate it. We couldn't do it without you.
But we also, if you want to support us in different ways, we have social media, Facebook, Instagram. You can follow, and we try to put pictures on there of our episodes and such. People on our Facebook group often put funny things. They will comment on the episodes. They will just tell some things from their life that's actually really funny. Just like Rebecca Cant, who sent the drawing by her 6-year-old son. That was, I thought, art. It had the boobs to the side and the puss to the front, and she was a rectangle. And then I think her arms were out up in the top. I thought it was great. And someone said that she should make it a tattoo, and I agreed. It was but the drawings your children make of you are
what
make you want to jump in front of a bus. But it would be a great tattoo. Because the boobs were totally different sizes sticking out to the side.
Well,
and then the puss looked in the right spot. But the
kid's got an eye.
Yeah. But the body was a square rectangle, which would match mine.
That seems.
And I did like Tess Mertens Johnson put the picture of the newscaster lady and man that just said, in the background, it said Big Beaver. And then there was an arrow pointing to the woman. And it was just, it was a story running, but the arrow was unfortunate. At the Big Beaver story, the arrow was pointing right down at the woman newscaster.
I never saw that one. Oh, shit.
So in the freeze frame, the poor woman has Big Beaver and an arrow pointing right at her. Look, Mom, I finally am a newscaster. Watch tonight. I finally get my big break. Oh, jeez.
Oh, I feel
those were good.
Oh, God. I found a couple too because it's been a while. The weirdest one I thought was Jeanette Muck had that thing that was a dick that you could just stick anywhere. It was like a suction cup dick. And it was like, these are things you can do with the dilly, it was called. And people like would suction cup it to the wall, and then they would put a toilet paper roll over it. So you could like use it as a toilet paper roll, or you could open drawers with it. You're just like holding on to the floppy dick. But it had a suction cup at the end.
Is it also an inappropriate item? A sex
no,
toy? Or it's just a helper?
It's just a helper. It's just a suction cup.
What asshole invented that?
Like you could put it in your shower and be like...
and hang...
Yeah,
your
or
soap
your soap on it. Yes, exactly. Or you could just...
I'll buy it today.
Stick it in your shower, and then when your husband takes a shower, he turns over and there's a floppy dick hanging in his face.
And his own floppy
and then
dick.
His own. So there's 2 dicks in the
and himself.
shower.
That's 3 dicks.
3. I also liked... I can't believe you didn't see that. I didn't see yours either. I also liked the Ashley Maxwell McClellan put the t-shirt that said, "We don't lick people," and then it was "Lies adults tell kids." And I thought, I feel like I say things like that in my deodorant factory job, and then I'm like, wait. It's like when we always say,
Yes.
boys, stop touching other boys. And
I
then we're
say,
like,
yep.
well,
We touch boys on our own time.
Yeah.
That's what I say. We do all of our touching on your
yours
own time.
That's right.
And then they look and go, oh, that
Stop
makes them stop a little
touching.
bit.
Yeah.
We touch boys on our own time.
But my favorite of all time was Zuzka Kvasnichek.
Yes. That's a good one.
And she posted the TikTok of the guy who had his passed out wife over the back of a horse.
I saw that one.
And it said his wife got blacked out at brunch.
She got brunch.
And she got brunched hard.
Oh, no.
And she couldn't even sit and hang on to him. She was literally flopped over the ass.
Like the olden days when you would just steal the woman from the village and fold her over the horse.
She was just flopping around, and he was like,
that's uncomfortable to be on a horse like that.
How could she stay on with no control? The whole thing was hilarious. I loved it.
That's good. We also have our glitter in the shitter, things that get her through our shit ass week. What I chose was a silk hair turban.
No, you didn't.
Well, because I have hair fallout. I've reached an age where you just touch your head and your hair comes away, or your hand comes away with 75 pounds of your own hair. It's called premenopause.
Yeah.
So my hair, like half my hair is falling out. Like fallen out onto the floor. So I look like Telly Savalas. I look like, what's his name? Franz from NYPD Blue.
Dennis Franz.
I look like Paul Sorvino for sure. I look like Paul Sorvino exactly. Identical. So I read, besides hair vitamins that I'm taking up the anus everywhere, that I use silk pillow, but then you should wrap your head in silk, not satin, because then it just makes your hair fall out more. I don't know what the difference is.
Okay.
And then it will help also make your hair shinier and your scalp more moisturized.
Okay.
So I've used it for a few days and it has, I don't know.
When you went to get your hair done this last time, did she acknowledge that your
she
hair?
knows my hair. Yes.
But could she tell that it had fallen out?
Yes.
Like I wouldn't look at you and think your hair was
because she
falling
can feel
out.
it. She can feel it's like half.
So she said she was like, wow.
But she says there's I have baby hairs
New
growing
growth?
all over my head. So I'm going to have like half-inch long hairs like a
Fraggle.
punk.
Yeah.
Yes, all over half as much as long hair.
That
I'm
would
going to
be
look like an
cool.
insane person. A Dennis Franz.
I mean,
with long hair, short hair. I mean, I have short bits all over growing in that's the same as regular hair. So I don't know. I cut bangs.
it would be like Tim Burton.
Yes, I'm like
hair.
exactly like
Yeah.
Tim Burton.
And you did cut bangs.
But I just said I need. They're. She just said cut them shorter for the whole summer. Then I don't have to worry about anything. But I said I just need layers because everything's going to grow in a different length all over my head. And she said, yeah, it will. And then it'll probably just fall out again. So thank you.
Well, speaking of that, my glitter in the shitter is everybody's favorite TikTok/reel. It is the We Do Not Care Club.
Oh, that is good.
I fucking love her. I love when she has 13 pairs of glasses on and she reads the things that we don't care about anymore because we're going through menopause
like
or
your hair falling out.
perimenopause. Yeah.
But I care about that because
Like we do not care about bras anymore.
Yeah, I'm wearing a very terrible just bandeau that's inappropriately placed.
Yeah, we do not care about chin hairs.
Ashley Judd had one. She did for the Do Not Care Club. Did you see it?
Had one?
She was wearing a very filthy nightgown, and it was about her nightgown and how she blows her nose on it.
Yeah. Oh, no. I think I still care about that.
No, she said, I don't care. My nightgown is filth. I wear it. I go out gardening, and if I need to blow my nose, I blow it on my nightgown.
Huh.
She said, I don't give a fuck.
unfortunately, I watched one right before my husband said, we don't have any like thing to eat. I'm going to go to the grocery store, I guess, while you're gone. And I was like, okay. And he's like, well, what should I get? And the one that I watched right before was like, we do not care if we don't have groceries in the house.
Yeah.
Like you drove by the same stores that we did and didn't stop.
Mm-hmm.
We do not care. Right. And so Phil was like, what kind of groceries? And I was like, I don't know. You know what we don't have?
You are a
live in
person
this
that
house.
lives in this house that
You
knows
know
what
we
every
have.
day is what you eat and what we have. Why are you an infant all of a sudden right now? I'm not a mother to a grown man.
But I feel like I maybe would have been nicer if I hadn't just seen the We Do Not Care.
I don't know,
Club.
but what do you do when you have to mother your spouse on either side?
We do.
I need a partner that can handle this and go out and get what we need instead of mothering a grown person in the home.
Yeah, like we had no bread. You knew that. Put that on the list.
Yeah.
Why do I have to tell you?
No.
To put that on the list.
Mm-mm. I need a partner in crime.
And
not another
not someone
person
who
that
I
shit out of my vagina.
Exactly. Exactly.
Otherwise, hit the road, and I'm not even going to pack your bags for you.
No.
Because you should be able to do that when you hit the road.
To figure out what you need.
And if you can't, I'm going to sell your stuff.
We do not care.
Nope. We don't. That's good. I think women have had it. Women, it's taken us, a millennia, 2, 3, to finally say, God,
we do not care.
Fucking, we don't anymore. Yeah. Just fucking, every woman, no doctors ever cared about women's health problems. And now we're just all.
Now it's on every other
And
reel.
now, of course, no one's going to care again because of the time. So,
yeah, right.
I mean, might as well just eat mercury, like whatever, Li Shuang, whatever his name, I forgot his name, that had the terracotta soldiers and ate fucking mercury every day. Let's go back to that.
Terracotta soldier.
Oh,
I went right to John B. from Shit Town.
Oh, yeah. But that was,
he had arson.
Yeah.
No.
Cyanide.
Yeah.
I don't know. JFK Jr. might say cyanide's good for you too. He obviously puts it on his skin. I don't know what else it could be. It's not soap.
No.
Anyway.
There's some, yeah.
It's not sunscreen.
No.
It might be feces.
We do not care. We
might be mercury.
Do not care.
No, I don't give a flying fuck.
You know what we do care about? This week's story.
We do, about this woman who...
One time I exercised and I was on the treadmill and this story just I was in a hotel, so it just happened to be on the TV.
I've seen this one when it was... I have seen the story because I knew it because I was horrified at the murder scene.
Yes.
But I was shocked that we didn't do it because I thought we did.
No. And then when I looked it up after I saw it, I was like, oh my God, it's a Dateline. It's a 2020. It's a 48 hours. It's a...
Yeah.
whatever.
I think the Dateline I had
Court TV. It's
seen
everywhere.
Because I was so horrified at the murder scene because it is one of the bloodiest ones I think out there. The crime scene is so horrible,
dumb,
and completely unnecessary.
So
all of it is unnecessary.
There's literally no motive.
There's nothing about it that should have happened.
No,
none of it.
But it did.
All right, so this what I watched, and there were some others too that you kind of watched and say other outside information. Is a 48 hours. So we get what's her name, Erin Moriarty. She's good because she doesn't hide her bitch face sometimes.
No.
I like that.
And I watched one with Ashley Banfield. Remember her?
Yes.
She was...
Yes.
Used to be something.
That's right. I know that.
She was like a correspondent during wartime.
Yes.
Remember?
Okay.
Yeah. Then she did this thing for Court TV. Yeah.
So it is called The Plot to Kill Dr. Sievers. The plot came true as well.
Sure
she
did.
was killed. We're going again to guess where? Florida. What? Florida. Which it's lovely if it wasn't had so much Florida man in it.
Yeah, right.
So we have a lady called Teresa Sievers, and she is a doctor. She's a holistic medicine doctor. So I think she is like a medical science doctor.
No, she was an actual doctor.
But she does.
But she also was like, did hand in hand. Like she was trying to like do the whole person.
And such?
No,
I don't know.
She was a doctor because she worked with the other doctor who lived across the street. Remember?
Right. Okay. Yeah. So when we get in on the story, she's 46. She's pretty successful, and
she actually speaks about like autoimmune things. Like they had videos of her talking about lupus and stuff, and she would be like, "Hi, I'm here to tell you about whatever."
She got into a lot of things I think that other people wouldn't get into, and helped people with a lot of problems that other doctors just wouldn't help them with, and they got a lot of help. Mm-hmm. When other people wouldn't be listened to, I think she was kind of that. She filled that space where people just couldn't find help, and she...
Like when Dorothy got chronic fatigue
syndrome. She's like that.
Yeah.
But she was kind of also the lady that I guess she would be wearing high heels and be kind of like a badass in the office. But also,
she was like 5 feet tall.
Yes.
They said she was tiny, and she always wore giant high heels and like had a tight, cute dress on, and was like...
And...
boss babe.
Yeah. And she was... Yeah. It was a boss.
Yeah.
That sometimes she was difficult to work with because she just wanted things done her way.
Yeah.
And when you're very intelligent and running your own business, sometimes you just don't have time for fools.
Exactly. We don't have time for fools, and we don't do shit.
Yeah. And so she had sometimes a rep in her office as being difficult, but not by many. I think, it can be hard sometimes.
Well, she was a woman in the 90s.
Yes. Running, just a business with
being
people.
A doctor.
You can always, it's just when you're working with people all the time like
just
that.
People.
And people who are sick, everything kind of can get whatever. So anyway, Teresa was older when she met Mark. Was she older? Yeah, because they were married in 2003. But I think it was an older marriage.
A little bit older?
Yes. But first off, we have these couple. We have Mark and Teresa. We have this intelligent doctor. Mark is actually her office manager. Teresa's the breadwinner. Mark manages the office and actually is like a stay-at-home dad. So they're this couple that's pretty unconventional. He's doing the Mr. Dad or Mr. Mom stuff. And she's working and very busy, traveling around a lot for conventions, all of this stuff, and getting pretty famous in the holistic medicine type of deal. Anyway, so she is gone on a trip. She's on a trip, one of her many things. She actually gets called back early for some reason. She had to cut her vacation, whatever her trip, short. She comes in and... She gets back from the trip. So she's supposed to go back to work at Monday. And by 9 a.m. sharp, they always hear her heels click, 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 click down the hallway. And she's never late. Never. Like it might be like 9 o'clock and 3 seconds. That's like the latest she ever is. So the staff is like, it's 9:05. There's no Dr. 9:15. There's no Dr. Teresa. And so they're starting to freak out. So we have this short-haired office lady named Sandra Hoskins. I guess she was her longtime medical assistant that worked there. She's texting back and forth. She's texting Teresa. Where are you? You're late. Or is there trouble? You're having car trouble? Is something going on? She's not getting an answer. She starts, texting Mark, the at-home husband. And the dad, he's not in the office. He's usually sometimes the office manager. She's texting him and he's saying, well, I haven't really even seen her. I don't know where she's been. I don't know what's going on. So this is where we get, was it the neighbor? Who Mark asked the neighbor
and
to
his
go
name was
in.
Mark too.
Yes, there's a lot of Marks.
Yeah.
So Mark's neighbor goes in. He gets the code to their house and goes in to try to like see, is Teresa in here? And he finds this horrible shit show on the kitchen floor, like right when you walk in on the kitchen floor. So what they figure is as soon as her vacation's cut short and Dr. Sievers, Teresa, walks into her kitchen with her bags, they think that's immediately, because her bags, I think, were still there. She was attacked probably from behind and repeatedly hit with what they believe was a hammer, because there was a bloody, hair-filled, gross, tissue-filled
her
hammer
hair was all over
on the floor. She's on the floor of the kitchen, and the kitchen is splattered and covered in blood everywhere. Like, this crime scene is just blood everywhere on this kitchen. It's kind of like a kitchen that is like a circle shape almost, and like she's in the middle, and there's
an
just blood,
island in the middle,
everywhere. So the news then goes out where the secretary, is horrified when she hears about it. We actually get in this 48 hours, we're hearing from Mark, the husband's stepsister and stepmom. Is that these two women? Yeah.
I didn't
So
see
it's
the
not
48
like
hours.
dad, or it's like stepsister and stepmom. And so they're saying, oh my gosh, when we heard Aaron saying, what was Mark like when he heard? And they said he just couldn't speak. He couldn't speak. And they said, well, first off, he's not a guy that's overly emotional, but he just wasn't speaking. Like, I think he just wasn't overly emotional actually there. And this is where they show a picture. Teresa's kind of like, again, the short, cute blonde, looks kind of muscular, like in shape. Mark looks like the typical bald penis head with glasses and a goatee and kind of a bigger guy. Like a bald penis head, goatee, glasses.
And all I could think of was like, yep, he just stayed at home and do.
Yeah, he was just a bigger guy that liked having his wife work her ass off. And I don't know how much
daughters
office
that were
managing he did.
8 and 11.
Right. They met in 2003. So I guess he was visiting Florida, because apparently we're going to learn he's from Missouri.
Yeah.
And they say it's love at first sight. I feel like it maybe is love at first sight for him, and it was love at first eclipse for Teresa. But
they were older because she had been married before.
So I think this was like a later, a second for each. So when the stepmom said that Mark met Teresa, he said he was pretty much done. He's off the market. Mark was actually working as a nurse at the time, and Teresa was actually very recently divorced. So to Mark, Teresa was, holy shit, I've landed a doctor.
A doctor, yeah.
And he was going to kick it and hit it and sit it and get
sit
her.
it, literally.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kick it, hit it, and sit it.
So Mark landed her. They got married on the beach, surrounded by friends, according to the stepmother, Jenny. They said it was a sunset wedding. It was very nice, and she had a beautiful gown. That's what they said. And they said, was he happy? They said, he was very, very happy. And 6 months later, their first daughter was born.
Mm-hmm.
So they had that wedding
shot
right away.
Bang.
Yep.
What's up with that?
He got her
thing?
pregnant so she would marry him.
Mm-hmm.
They built this huge home in Bonita Springs. I don't know where that is. If it's by St. Petersburg, I don't know. In 2007, they have the other daughter. And then Mark just decides he's going to stay at home. But I think he did help in the practice a tiny bit, because I don't think he was there a lot. I think he was just helping with the kids a lot, which Teresa, I thought she didn't care as long as she could just do her job in the office.
Right.
Because she was very much serious of doing her holistic medicine, her mental health medicine that she also did, and wanting her practice to blend the alternative with the traditional doctoring. She would go off a lot of times, do speeches around and travel. She would send videos and do videos and send it off to conventions. So she was getting kind of well known in the holistic world at the time. She was very serious too. I guess she was hardcore and would sometimes make her employees very emotional. Like the Sandra sometimes would say she would cry. The patients loved her, but the staff sometimes would get a little upset and think that she was a straight up bitch, I guess. But anyway, like I think they said she expected perfection, and if you weren't perfect, she'd get upset. And I guess that can be tough. If your boss is really kind of ragging on you and you're trying your best, that can be tough, I guess. But what are you going to do? She was she would be really feisty with people. She was a very, very big presence, and she liked to be the biggest presence in the room, I guess, maybe. But she very much took care of her patients, and her patients loved her. Mark managed the office, but it didn't seem like he worked a whole lot. He took care of the daughters. The girls were very well taken care of. They both were like the pride and joy of both of them. Teresa, I guess, was just as in love with Mark, according to friends. She would often say, "I'll never leave Mark because I won't do that to my girls." But that's not really loving your husband. That's not really
loving your husband, no?
No, that doesn't really, that's not a term of endearment that I would want my husband to say about me.
No.
That's not like, Anyway, after this murder, police, even though Mark seems like the devoted husband, the friends are saying there really didn't seem anything wrong with their marriage. The only thing we can think of is her employees were kind of thought she was a bitch and overworked them.
But no affairs,
nothing. Yeah, they couldn't find anything like that. The police though start looking at Mark, even though he's kind of doing the right thing. But after a while, at first he was even talking to them without a lawyer. He hands over his cell phone. He's allowing them to download all the contents. And he actually has an airtight alibi because at the time of the murder, he actually has the girls and he's visiting Teresa's family like out of state. So he's not even in the state. So he couldn't have even done it at all. He wasn't there. But Mark reportedly at the funeral was starting to act the fool a little bit to people, especially to some of the staff, because he came to the funeral with a gun strapped to his waist, ready to blow away anybody that was going to come step to him. And I don't know why.
The funeral?
Yeah. Was he going to just whip the gun out and blow away anybody at the funeral? Was he going to cause this kind of a scene? Was the killer going to come to the funeral and blow away Mark at the funeral when it could be done so much easier in other ways? That didn't make sense. But the killer had not been arrested by the time of the funeral, so Mark was acting, they said he was just being very protective of the girls. I think it would be more upsetting if your dad at your mom's funeral was carrying around a big gun and acting twitchy and ready to blow someone away.
Yeah.
The girls probably would be more jittery instead of, trying to mourn their mother.
Right.
And then if they're worrying that dad's going to blow someone's head off because they're going to be shot at their mom's funeral, that's, again, very upsetting in an already horrific time.
Right.
So people were noticing the foolishness there. And then it didn't make sense that she's dead because, again, they're wondering, is someone trying to target these holistic doctors? Because another one had been killed, I guess, around the time, but there was no connection. No. There was no connection either that it looked like the home was broken into, which it did. It looked like there was a break-in. But they had $40,000 in cash sitting around their home. Who has $40,000 in cash sitting in their home?
Not me.
Like just $40,000. They had $40,000 in a cash register.
They had a shit ton of money. They had a shit.
Who has a cash register in their home?
Expensive
filled
things.
with $40,000 in cash.
Maybe they had a lot.
Do they play Target with real cash?
They had garage
Sexy
sales.
Target.
Probably.
They play Sexy Target, where he buys like a lube and she has to like give him, he pays
And wear
her money.
a
and
red
then-
bra with khakis.
Yeah, she wears a red
Yeah.
bra and a khaki underwear, and then he goes through with that sticky weighing thing, and has to pay for it. I don't know why else would you have a 40 grand of cash register or cash in your home if you're not playing sexy Target? 40 grand for a garage sale's too much.
Yeah,
Who
it
makes
is.
that in a garage sale?
Not me.
I would make maybe $17.
You could be like once worn by a corpse.
Yeah.
And maybe someone
Actual corpse.
Yeah, some morbid kids
Yes,
would come
they would.
around wearing their black eyeliner and buy some.
So the door had forced entry marks, but the 40 grand cash register, sexy Target cash register was not taken.
Her purse was on the counter, like
Her
nothing
rings,
was,
her
yeah.
jewelry, nothing
Giant
was
house.
taken.
Yeah.
None of the rich people things in this rich people house was taken.
Mm-mm.
Now, during the time where Mark was gone with the kids and Teresa was gone, Bonnie Sievers, Mark's mom, was asked to come in and feed the pets. So she was very upset because when she left that Sunday and Teresa came home that Sunday night and was murdered, when she left, she had a very hard time setting the alarm. The alarm again, it wouldn't set. And so when the police called her in to talk to her, she was devastated because she thought it was her fault that she couldn't set the alarm. Well, when she was leaving, she called Mark and said, I am having trouble setting your alarm. And Mark told her, just forget about it. Just leave. So that she told the police. And the police were like, okay. And they put that detail aside.
They sure did.
And so ignoring the alternative doctor deaths around, they couldn't connect her to that. Seeing that it was a break-in, but nothing was stolen. She was just brutally hit over the head multiple times.
Doesn't make sense.
With a hammer. So it does not at all make any sense. The police have zero suspects. Ugh. And they talked to the sister Annie Lisa. Was it Annie Lisa?
I don't know.
And not Annalisa or Annalise. I think it was Annie Lisa. I thought, hell no. That's not right, Annie Lisa. Anyway.
Annalise.
Oh.
It has to be.
No, I think it was Annie Lisa. And that's just absolute shit.
What?
Someone just doesn't know how to name a baby right.
That's for sure.
So the Sandra, this was the office staff. There was an office staff lady. She was upset at the funeral because people at the funeral were saying this office staff lady could have been the one to kill her because this secretary at Teresa's office, everyone hated her because Dr. Sievers hated her and thought she was a bitch. And it was the secretary at Teresa's office that was mad at Dr. Sievers because she was always a bitch to this secretary, Sandra.
Oh my
And so they were
God.
thinking, oh, did Sandra, the secretary that was always mad at Dr. Sievers for being so crabby and short with her, did she actually break into Dr. Sievers' home and murder her with a hammer because she was a crabby boss? And so Sandra, the secretary, goes to the funeral and everyone's mad, like treating her like shit. And then she finds out later, like, oh my God, they thought I actually
Everyone thought
broke
she
in and
murdered
murdered
her.
her because I just thought she was a bitchy boss. But she's like, I didn't murder her,
Oh my
for Christ's sake.
God.
So the police are like, rule her out, though. She's like, I just thought she was a bitch. I didn't murder her. She was just sometimes short and crabby with me. I didn't
She's a short
break
bitch.
into her home and hit her over the head with a hammer.
Right.
When sometimes you say you want to kill your boss, you don't actually do it.
No.
You just laugh about it, for Christ's sake. And so she was like, that's why when I went to the funeral, everyone was acting like I was a fucking psycho. And I asked for more beans and they told me to piss off, cunt. And they sliced my tires and they shit on my plate.
No more beans.
So anyway, somehow the police have this press conference and they go, holy shit, we got a suspect. And everyone's what the
Like,
hell? What the
how
hell?
did
How
this
is this
happen?
happening? And they go, we got our first suspect, and his name is Jimmy Rogers. Jimmy Rogers, and he's from Missouri. Jimmy Rogers from Missouri, and we booked him for the murder of Teresa Sievers. And no one knows what they're talking about. No one knows how they even heard of this douche. No one knows how they even
doesn't
got
make any
this
sense.
guy's name from Missouri. But Jimmy Rogers has been arrested for Teresa's murder. And then an hour later, they come back and go, now we got a second suspect. His name is Curtis Wayne Wright, and he's from Missouri.
Jimmy have a middle name too? They were calling him like Jimmy
He did, but I don't.
something Rogers and Curtis Wayne.
And it's Curtis Wayne and then Wright.
Right.
'Cause it
Curtis
sounds like
Wayne.
Wainwright. but-
Right.
yeah.
But yeah. Curtis Wayne.
And
Wright.
so people are like, what the hell are these two dicks? And how did we get... What the hell? So anyway, these two dicks, Jimmy Ray. Yes, it's Jimmy Ray
okay.
Rogers and Wayne Wright. He goes by Wayne Wright and not Curtis.
But yeah. But they always said Curtis.
Yes, Curtis Wayne Wright. So these two dicks are arrested. And when they have their mug shots, everyone's like, oh, what's going on? Wayne Wright or Curtis Wainwright or CW squared. CW squared and Mark are identical twins. They're both penis head, bald, goatee glasses, fat asses.
Rectangle glasses.
They are identical twins.
Identical.
So they are not related at all. They are just identical twin penis heads.
But have been friends.
Yes.
Forever.
So these people are not out of the blue. These are penis head Curtis W squared and Mark are besties. They go all the way back to like
Middle school.
Yep. And Jimmy Rogers comes in later.
Yes.
So we learn that CW squared Curtis penis head 2 was actually at Mark and Teresa's wedding. 2 months before Teresa was murdered, Mark was at Wayne's wedding. They have been besties since high school. They actually show them in high school, and Wayne had a bowl cut that was from hell. It was like a bowl cut you could see from the International Space Station. But he looked better than his penis head goatee glasses fatty.
Well,
I guess he was. And then we have this Greg B, who is this kind of nerdy weirdo. They're interviewing him because he was in high school with these two. So he's saying that Curtis Wainwright was the nerdy computer geek. He still is a nerdy computer geek because he actually is a nerdy computer geek for Teresa's Florida doctor's office, even though he lives in Missouri. But he goes and works on Teresa's computers. And when he was in college, this nerdy Greg B says Curtis was nerdy but good at computers. And Mark and him were like best buds.
yes.
And then he says, but you know what? Curtis Wayne murdered my brother. And he tells about how Curtis actually murdered Greg's brother and went to jail for it.
What?
Greg's brother was a preacher, and Curtis did something murdered this Greg from a high school friend's preacher, and Greg's like, yes, I do. I believe he killed my brother. And Greg thinks the motive was money, that Wayne owed his brother Ronnie money, and Ronnie wanted money, this Ronnie preacher. And so Wayne killed the brother of this Greg from high school and then went to jail. But then while he was in jail, that's when he meets Jimmy Ray Rogers, who was in jail for drug possession.
So,
Mark
Sievers marries Teresa Sievers.
Yes.
He's like a nurse. He's had a normal job.
Yes.
He marries a doctor. She's semi-normal. She has a job. And his best friend is a murderer.
Well, they think he murdered this guy. So I guess they couldn't prove it, and he actually went to jail for drug possession. I guess it was. But they're pretty sure he murdered this preacher.
Oh, but anyway, he had been in jail.
Yes, and they're pretty sure he murdered a guy.
And he's like, hey, come be
But he's
my
going,
wedding.
yeah, he's in the wedding
Yeah.
and he's constantly working on Dr. Sievers' computers and flying to Florida back and forth. This murdering preacher penis head. But in jail, he meets Jimmy Ray Rogers, who is doing time on a weapons charge, as you do. And so these two fucks meet in jail and I guess become best buds. So when Jimmy Ray is released, he starts working for some construction company and he's telling all these stories like his criminal past and says he can do all these con jobs and how he's stolen all this stuff and he can make counterfeit money and he's this like huge con fucking like but like a mob guy or whatever, like can do all these jobs. And everyone's just like thought he was a lying fucking weirdo and just said, get your work done, you fucker. And he was just telling all these weird stories and lying. So then his boss, this Conway from the construction, starts saying Jimmy comes and is supposed to be at work on this Monday, June 29th. But Jimmy says, I can't get to work on Monday. I'm still in Florida. Well, this Monday, June 29th, was the day Dr. Sievers was supposed to be at work. And she was late. You know, it was 9:05. She was not getting to work. Well, this Monday was the day she was found murdered. And Jimmy was in Florida, not getting back to his job in Missouri. And Jimmy, again, telling his boss he's still stuck in Florida and can't get back, is also telling everyone on this construction site about all the crimes he does, is also telling everyone that his nickname from high school on is the Hammer. And everyone is saying it's really not the Hammer. I think he gave himself that name. Like in high school, they really are going to name him the Hammer because he was hitting people with hammers all the way in high school. And like the reporter doing the stories, like, I'm pretty sure like that's not what they called him. Because in high school, they would have called him like fucked teeth, if anything, or centimeter dick. Or lady tits, if anything. Anus breath. That's for sure.
No one gets
not
a
the
cool
Hammer.
name like the Hammer.
No.
In
you
high
get
school.
shit mouth.
Right.
If anything, or shit teeth. God. Like, why do your teeth look all brown like shit?
Yeah.
You don't
no
get
one
the
gets
Hammer.
a Hammer name.
So now he also is telling his boss, Tim Conway, that he was going to Florida with a bunch of people and he's going to visit the Sievers. And so at the time of the murder, his boss is realizing that the Hammer and these other people are actually revisiting the Sievers at the same time that Teresa was murdered. And so he's mentioning, decided to mention that to the police. And so that's how the police tracked down Jimmy Ray. The police also pay a visit to Jimmy Ray's pregnant girlfriend, Taylor Showmaker. And I thought it was Taylor Shabusiness, the one who killed her boyfriend in Wisconsin, but it wasn't. So the police go to Taylor Showmaker, whose name should be not Showmaker because her brain was very tiny, unfortunately.
Yep. But
she did the right thing at the end. She did. Yeah. It took a while, though. She mentions to the police that, Jimmy came home and then he told me that I had to hide
and throw some stuff out a window.
Yeah, throw some of this like stuff. Yeah, stuff like an outfit and some weapons and stuff out of a window. And that he told me like he murdered some girl for money. And the police were like, "Oh, okay,
like a lot."
Yeah. Well, thank you for letting us know. Then they find that the car that he rented with Curtis Wayne Wright, also had GPS. Now, Wayne, being this tech genius, didn't seem to acknowledge the GPS, as the GPS noted the entire trip from Curtis's home to Florida, to the Sievers' home, at the exact time of the murder and all the way back to his home. And so the entire trip at the time of the murder was all recorded in the GPS of the car. All the way to the Bonita Springs address at the exact time of the murder.
To every Walmart
like 6
they went
to the Walmarts where they could see them on video at the Walmart buying all this stuff like, you know, gloves and pickaxe kit, trash bags, flushable wet wipes. That's good. Black towels, black shoes. They paid with a $100 bill. And so they said these guys were like Dumb and Dumber, pretty much. So when they finally, you know, I guess they waited for like all morning, maybe June or that Sunday in the house, waiting for her to come home that Sunday, and attacked her when she came home, and then left right after and drove all the way home. So Taylor, though, told the police that she asked Jimmy, like, did you do it? And he said yes. And then, like, what did you use? And he said he used a hammer on her and killed her with a hammer. So the police were like, all right, we know everything.
Thanks, Taylor.
And then, like, how much money he was supposed to get. And it was because of the insurance policy. Teresa had $4 million of insurance on her. And you really shouldn't have that much when you have a crazy husband.
Yeah, I guess not.
But Jimmy's girlfriend, Showmaker, said he was to be paid $10,000, and the police said, "Has he been paid yet?" And she said, "No, he hasn't."
That was a bad deal.
That was a bad deal.
She had $4 million.
I mean, he might as well have been promised $75.
Yeah,
because that's all he was going to get.
Yeah,
$75. Now, it was told that Mark, they learned from Jimmy's girlfriend, was the one that actually hired Wayne. But then Wayne decided to hire out the job and used Jimmy. Mark did not supposedly know anything about Jimmy being hired and going as well. So possibly Wayne took the $10,000 and wasn't going to give anything to Jimmy, but who knows? So it gets to be about 8 months after Teresa's murder. These two are arrested.
Just clowns.
Absolute clowns, especially since we see that Wayne is so obsessed with Mark that he's basing even his whole look and looking like Mark.
Yes, he's purposely
it's
trying
crazy
to be a twin.
They look exactly the same. Yeah. Now, Mark takes a deal. He realizes he's fucked because of probably the GPS and everything and the Walmart footage. I mean, he's fucked. He takes a deal. He pleads guilty to second-degree murder. He gets 25 years. And he'll probably be out in half that.
And he said he's actually the one who hit her with the hammer.
Like 3 times, but then he said Jimmy hit her the rest. He actually did hit her, but Jimmy did the rest.
Yeah.
So Mark then also testifies and says, it was not my idea. It was Wayne testifies and says it was totally Mark's idea.
Right.
Mark hired me to do this. And
so the two twins.
Yes.
Not really
together.
Twins.
Yes.
But on purpose trying to look like each other twins are sitting in the courtroom together and
look exactly the same.
Look the same, except one's wearing an orange jumpsuit and he says, yeah, he hired me. And they tell this crazy story about burner phones. And I mean, it's insanity.
And he says, and they said, so how did the murder work? And they said they just waited till she came in. It was Wayne hit her first, hits her again.
Because he tripped over the dog dish and scared her.
Yeah. And so they had to come running at her.
He had to hit her the first time because he's a dumbass.
But then he said the hammer, anus, lady tits, came running out of nowhere and then started just smashing her head. So there were 2 hammers, but only one left at the scene. Absolutely horrible and horrifying, and left on the kitchen floor. And then his jumpsuit was found because I think the girlfriend showed where they threw it.
Yeah,
she had to testify then and identify that it was his blue jumpsuit.
Yeah.
The fibers from the jumpsuit were found on Teresa's body. I think on some of the hammer.
Mm-hmm.
So the jury convicts Wayne right away. The jury then convicts Jimmy Ray pretty much right away. He is guilty.
He gets life, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, he gets longer because he decided to go to a jury trial.
He didn't try to.
He was acting like,
cop a plea. Yeah.
no. But then Mark Sievers gets arrested and he's going to face death. The other two do not get death. His is first degree murder. The other two are second degree murder. His is first degree murder and he's facing the death penalty. And so they try to get him to be like cop a plea. He doesn't. He is acting like the most arrogant piece of shit you've ever seen in a courtroom.
Taking notes like he knew what he was doing.
Oh my God. And the look on his face was just so fucking arrogant. I wanted to go up there and just hit him with that sticky dildo.
And
and hit him 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 and hit him.
Every time they would talk about Teresa, he would just bawl like a baby.
Oh, please. And it was so fake.
And you're like, you did this.
Yeah. And so then they have to drag in Curtis Wainwright and he has to testify again. And they're like, well, why did you do this? And he's like, well, Mark asked me to do it. Bitch, you could have said no. You could have said, Mark, this is crazy.
You could have.
I'm not going to murder your wife because I'm a normal person. But he wasn't a normal person because he already murdered someone before.
And he already was trying to be a twin lookalike.
Yes. He would have done anything for this guy. Probably give him an old handy do.
Like he took a road trip with some nerd named the Hammer.
Yeah. To go murder his wife for him
someone.
So that he could probably take his place in his bed, dress up. Hi, Mark, I'm Teresa. No, it's not me, your friend Curtis Wainwright. It's really me, Teresa, in your bed. Look at me reaching over and giving you a hand job.
Dumb. It's so dumb.
Oh my God.
They had these burner phones, and so they would text each other. Like Curtis Wainwright would text and say, it was like it was nonsense, blah, blah, blah. And then it would say, text other if you want me to do the other. And then they would say, hello, brother from, and then they would put other in quotation marks, mother. Hello, brother from an other mother. And then they would both go to their burner phones.
Oh my God.
And
fucking idiots.
Talk about the murder.
And so then why would he want Teresa to die? He said, well, he thought she was going to leave him and take the kids. So? You don't want, so you would have had to watch your kids all the time anyway because she had to work all the time.
And you would have gotten half her money.
And you would have gotten hella much alimony, I'm sure, because she was making the money and you were just a dumbass. You would have been loaded, bitch. What's wrong with you? You could have lived the dream life everybody has, is to have someone divorce you and you just have to sit on your fat ass and take the money.
Yeah.
Everybody wants that.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Idiot. So he also, what did he say? Something like the comments he was saying, like to the judge, like, do you, sir, do you want to sit or stand or something, like, oh, I'd rather go home or something, like smarmy comments like that. Like he's so fucking cocky. Just everything he said. Or did you want to testify, sir? No, but I'd like to go home. Things like that. And the judge just would look at him like, God, you're gross.
Yeah.
You're just a gross poop.
Yep.
And the jury, they go out and they just took a quick dump and came back. It was so quick. The jury was immediate.
Yeah.
Guilty. And I think then they sentenced the fucker to death. They hated him so bad.
Yeah.
To death. The two that beat this woman to death with a fucking hammer only got 25 years and they'll probably be out in half of that. Or 25 years in life, which he'll be out in probably 25 years or 20 years. Probably the way it goes.
They hated Mark.
He got the death penalty. They hated this fucker, how evil this fucker is. And then the family wanted him to just get the rest of his life in prison because they think death is too good for him, how much they hate him.
Really?
Which, that's what the comment they said. Like, oh. So then it gets time for him to plead for his life against the death penalty. And that's when he starts going,
Yeah. Yep.
Now you're fake crying of all this. Why? He's now the girls lost their mommy and they're going to lose their daddy. You didn't.
Yeah.
You did this, you fool.
You did it.
Why do they men? You're so arrogant. You thought you could get away with this stupid thing by having your exact lookalike commit the crime? Are you this dumb? Let's have my identical twin commit a murder. What a fool.
Then I'm going to call my neighbor who I never talked to
ever
and just say, hey, can you go check on my wife?
After upsetting my own mother for changing the code so she couldn't set it and have her think that she killed my wife. What an absolute dickweed.
And wearing a gun to the funeral? Fuck you.
Oh. I mean, oh my God, what a horrible ass. Just a rotten man.
So him and his twin,
they can go suck it.
Prison right now.
And Jimmy Ray the Hammer can go get hammered by dicks all day long.
Yeah.
Hardcore dicks for the rest of his life.
So
when his pregnant girlfriend can raise their child alone now too.
Why?
She didn't choose wise either.
She didn't.
But she did do the right thing.
In the end, yeah.
She sure did. Good for her.
We have a book club.
Oh, we do, yeah.
So thanks for listening. And if you like thriller, murder, kind of, I don't know, is that what you call them? Like thriller books? Not like Michael Jackson thriller, but like, kind of murder mystery books. We meet once a month on Zoom. We have members from all over. And we are reading The God of the Woods by Liz Moore.
We are.
It's good.
I liked it a lot.
I like
really
it too.
did.
I'm not done with it yet, but I started it and I
enjoyed
been
it
thinking
quite
about it.
much.
Yeah. So I want to keep reading it. So read with us. And we do have the next couple months picked out already because I know
we do.
A lot of you like to set them aside on library. And sometimes it takes a while. So you can check on our Instagram for that. And then we just put the Zoom link on our Facebook group. So again, if this is your first time listening, feel free to join our Facebook group and you'll get all the goods and probably some entertainment there as well. Yep. You can always share us with your friends.
That would be great. Give a rating and review.
Yep.
Share us or word of mouth. That really helps so that we can just do this for a job eventually.
Yeah. Thanks so much for listening.
Thank you. And being patient for a break.